All right, welcome everybody. This is Scott Patton. I am your host. I'm really excited to be on with you today because I have a very, very special guest. I've known her for at least 10, if not 15 years. We've done a bunch of different things together, and she said something, I think it was yesterday when we were talking, that was just kind of like, yeah, that's exactly what we're all about. And what she said was, we have a servant's heart. You have a servant's heart. I have a servant's heart. The person we were talking about has a servant's heart. And it's such an important part to living life uh, fully, whether you've got billions of dollars or whether you have $0. You've got a servant's heart. That's really where I believe happiness starts and success starts. And she was born and raised in North Dakota, which I didn't know. I was born a little bit to the east of North Dakota and north, but I grew up in Winnipeg, which is like a stone's throw away from North Dakota. And so that explains some of the reasons why we get along so well, because she learned about Midwest values and the benefits of living in small town America. And I had Midwest farmer values. 4 of my 5 uncles were farmers, and every summer I'd go spend 2 weeks on the farms with my uncles, and then my cousins would come back with me to Winnipeg and spend time in the big city, and it was great. And she moved to the South Pacific at age 8. Wow, like I don't know why we've never talked about this before, but I moved to the South Pacific, Melbourne, Australia, in particular, when I was 7. She spent 4 years on an island paradise. I spent 2 years in Melbourne, Australia. And they said, when I went back, the people that knew my family from before, said, "Oh, I remember you. You're the one that was your fingernails were trying to scrape this tarmac as they pulled you on the plane. You didn't want to go," which was true. I would have been quite happy to have grown up in Australia and learned to surf. She spent a 25-year career as a critical care nurse, as well as 2 years as a legal nurse consultant in the San Francisco Bay Area. She founded a medical aesthetic clinic on the peninsula, and success was swift, running the business operations as well as providing clinical directorship and primary aesthetic practitioner duties, taught Linda how to envision, strategize, and execute a flourishing entity. It was an amazing success for her, and it lasted for 10 years. So after 6 years in Southern California caring for her mom, she recently relocated to beautiful Oregon, where she continues in the entrepreneurial world, assisting various health, wellness, and aesthetic practices and companies with their business growth and development. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted her to come on the show with us today, is because I've always been really cognizant of, you need to look after your health now, because 20 years goes by like this. Like, I can't believe that I'm not 30 anymore. But a lot of the things that I've done over the last 30, 40 years have contributed to the fact that I'm active, I'm healthy, I'm not having heart attacks or cancers or any of those sort of good things, knock on wood. And I hope to continue with that. So with no further ado, welcome to the show, Linda. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just great, Scott. Thanks for that amazing intro. Wow. I've done a lot, haven't I?
You have. It's just amazing. And I can't. So, what island in the South Pacific were you on?
Are you ready for this? Kwajalein in the Marshall Islands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
my dad
amazing.
my dad took a job over there. He was in charge of all the food management for the enlisted guys, for the officers, for the civilians, and it was a Nike Zeus test site. So for us as
Oh,
kids, I was 8 years old. Oh my God, all I cared about was that I could wear thongs and shorts to school, and we could walk down the beach and pick up these gorgeous shells. I
mhm.
mean, the whole thing was just like, I don't know, Wonderland, especially after North Dakota, where it's kind of, kind
Cold.
of flat and really hot and humid in the summer and like minus 70 below during the winter. We were in a balmy 85, 24/7, 365. It was like heaven on earth.
Yeah. When I went to Australia, I was afraid of getting in a swimming pool. When I came back, I was probably one of the better swimmers in all of Manitoba. I was like a fish. I just loved it. And
Well,
it
the
was,
water in Australia is, God, just as beautiful as it is in the Marshalls. I mean, just stunning. Going out deep sea fishing, it goes from this pale, pale light blue to just an indigo blue. And then all of a sudden there's a little outcropping of coral and you're back
mm,
to like an aqua. I mean, it was just, I don't know, just a
paradise.
dream come true, a paradise like where you're
Yeah.
living right now.
Well,
Lucky guy.
for those of you who don't know, for the last 5 years, I've been traveling the world. And right now I'm in Santa Marta, Colombia, which is on the Caribbean coast. And there's beautiful beaches around here. And the sunsets are amazing. Even though I'm on the east side of South America, the way the land and the water goes, you see the sunsets. And last night it was spectacular. So I'm looking forward to tonight's as well. So
Yes.
you've been in the health and wellness for a long time, and we've just gone through, an awful couple of years when it comes to a lot of people's health. What would you say are like your one or two top things to tell people who really want to make sure that they, stay out of the hospital and are not just surviving but thriving in terms of their health?
I think it just going back to basics, making sure you have great nutrition, making sure you move. I mean, really and truly. Now, I could add to that, right? Water, getting enough sleep, staying away from the bad stuff if you can, or as much as you can. In other words, not maybe over drinking and certainly not smoking if you can help it. But basically, it just goes back to what we knew way back when, eating healthy and getting some movement in. And I do that every day. I hike up a 2-mile mountain and back again. And that's how I start my day. And it makes all the difference in the world. It isn't just for the physical, it's for the mental as much as it is for the physical. So I'm a huge believer of movement.
Right. Yeah, I love to go for a walk. I made a commitment to go for about a 40-minute walk in the morning and a 40-minute walk in the evening. And I don't always succeed, but boy, it sure makes it. I can tell when I've been sitting, and then I start getting up, and you start walking. And it's kind of like creak, 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 creak.
Yeah, we're at that age, right?
We're at that age, yeah. Awesome. So, what keeps you in the health and wellness industry? Because you're definitely an expert in that field.
Well, I think it really started in my very, very early 20s. I was introduced to some really high quality supplements, and then it was a day on the job at Stanford Open Heart ICU. I was 21 and my patient was 42, and he had just had a quintuple bypass. And I remember saying that day, I said, okay, what do I need to do not to end up here? Right. So I kind of started researching, started at the gym, starting eating better, drinking water, getting sleep, sunscreen, all the good stuff. And even though I was in a very high stress, high pharma area, being critical care for 25 years, ICU, ER recovery, for myself, I was always on the proactive wellness track. And I mean, we didn't really know what that was back then. It was just doing as much for yourself to keep healthy as possible. I mean, I really do look at my health as my responsibility. Sometimes, when I'm explaining some of the products we have, well, I better check with my doctor. My first thought is, your doctor isn't really going to know what this is for the most part. And it really is up to you. It's your body, it's your health. So, yeah, there's challenging times with people, but I think with the right guidance, maybe, and the right mentorship, people can, kind of get on track and stay there, or get back on track and stay there, and not wait for some big medical emergency that sends them to the emergency room that they may or may not even recover from.
Yeah, that's a really important thing, and I can just imagine, being in your 20s, seeing the quadruple bypass in such a relatively young man, and just going like, oh. And you remind me actually of one of the reasons why I left a 20-year career at a grocery chain. I was a store manager, and I looked. I was calling up another store manager one day, and the assistant said, "No, he's not here." And I go, "Oh, where is he?" "Oh, he's on a leave." Well, managers never got a leave. Like, what was that, right? Turns out he had, I don't know, depression or something, and he was on a medical leave, like a mental medical leave for 3 months, and stress, I guess. And and he was 10 years older than me. So then I started looking at, a few of the other guys that were 10 years older than me, and I thought, man, there's a lot of obesity, and a couple of them have had heart attacks, and this guy's stressed out, and it's kind of, I like juicing, right? Carrots and beets and that sort of stuff. And I said, it's kind of like you're the carrot on the counter and you're looking at all the other carrots going through the juicer. It ain't going to happen to me. It's the system, right? You can see the inputs, you can see the outputs, and we have bakeries and they're full of donuts and apple turnovers and good smelling cheesecake. And when we got together to talk about business, it was at a bar with beer and whiskey. So, the whole thing was just, I'm sure I'd have had a heart attack and been gone a long time ago if I'd have stayed on that path, right?
Yeah.
But and when you were talking, I thought, yeah, like move your body, drink some water, eat good, don't smoke. And it's just like, it's simple, but so difficult for so many people to do, because you just look around and everybody's drinking and everybody's eating the wrong type of, processed foods and everything else. So, do you ever sort of think, why bother?
I suppose it's kind of hit me from time to time, working ER, the guys would come in short of breath, COPD, emphysema, and they'd have a cigarette pack in their little pocket, and my heart would go out to them. I've never been a smoker, but I can only imagine. I mean, it's very, very, very addictive. And I never let that get in the way of me giving, an excellence of care, not, having a preconceived notion or being critical. And I've tried to kind of carry that into the health and wellness realm. And, every now and then, of course, it gets a little bit challenging, we'll call it, when you go over the same information with somebody over and over, and it's like they're still at square one. I mean, that's heartbreaking, but, the old saying, we can only lead people to water. We can't make them drink. So,
Right.
I mean, I do my best, and I try to live my life as an example, because people run into me and they go, oh, there's no way you're that age, right? And I think, to me, it's not an ego thing. It's yeah, kind of, yes, I was blessed with good genes. Okay, but it's what do you do with those genes? And I was
Right.
always proactive. And so I don't know. I just try to be the beacon of light, and like you said in the beginning, be a servant, have a servant's heart and be understanding. I mean, every now and then I get off a call and go, right. but
We
I
all
get
do
over it and say, hey, I hope I got to them this time, right? And then I'm here.
Yeah, you reminded me. Like, I've never smoked, and I've never even had a cigarette in my mouth, or a joint. Spending the last 30 years in British Columbia, we're known for the cannabis. No, and my earliest memory ever is being on the farm with my family and my uncles, and being like 3.5, 4.5, like in there somewhere, I don't know, and looking up, seeing my uncle, and he was smoking, and I think it was a cigar, right? And he looks at me, and I'm looking at him, and he doesn't say anything, well, that I recall. He just hands me the cigar. So I go, oh, okay, well, uncle did it, I'll do it. I just about died, and that was it. Nothing ever burning comes anywhere near my mouth. Best thing my uncle ever did for me. And, it's just funny how big an influence our family can have on us.
Well, and also friends. I mean, I was 12
Friends.
and all my friends were hanging out at the park in San Bruno, California, and puffing away on cigarettes. So I took two puffs. Oh my God, I ran off into the trees and threw up. And
Mm,
of course, I was horrified. It was like I was a failure. And oh my God, am I ever glad that happened? Because never
right.
again, never again. My brother, neither one of us, both parents, yes. And that was so typical, in the 40s and 50s and 60s for
Sure.
everyone and then the tippling of the martini. And, it was a lifestyle. And I guess I just realized early on that I just didn't need that, and, I've lived a good life. I mean, am my peers driven snow? No. I mean, I've, you know, done some fun stuff along the way, growing up just south of San Francisco in the late 60s, but I got it out of my system and realized that, yeah, I didn't want that lifestyle.
Right. So one of the reasons I invited you on the show, Linda, was because you've been working with an amazing company, Q Sciences, and we wanted to talk a little bit about how they can really help people with their health.
Yeah, it actually stands for the Q is quintessential. Am I saying it right? Quintessential. That's a hard one. Sciences, and it was actually quintessential biosciences, and so they shortened it to Q Sciences maybe 4 years ago. I was drawn to them, gosh, when they had their kind of pre-opening back in 2012, and it just wasn't good timing for me. So about a month or so ago, a good friend of mine said, hey, take a look at this. I said, oh my gosh, I kind of was with them years ago. But they, of course, have come miles and miles from then, and they've just got amazing products at this point. I just sort of want to highlight the fact that the two founders have done this company themselves. There's no outside money, self-funded. Great, great two guys. I mean, one is a little older, highly successful businessman. The other one is 40-year-old, and he's like the face of the company and outgoing and all of that, get everybody excited. But the products that I'm really excited about are several things, but primarily the liquid collagen. Um, it's not just for beauty. We have something called Rebuild, and that actually helps all of the body structures, even neurologically. And all the ingredients, our products are formulated by a medical doctor, and also he is also a naturopath, which I love. So we're getting the medical traditional, and we're getting the naturopathy, which actually focuses holistically. There is the
Linda, what does the collagen do?
Well, a collagen is a protein and it rebuilds all the body structures. And as we age, we're kind of missing some of that now. I'll refer to myself, and we need a little boost. So I wanted to talk about this bottle right here because this is called Reform, and it actually can help neurologically, even down to the feet. I don't know if anyone's heard of the
Wow.
disease called neuropathy. But what happens a lot of times, diabetics and other, a little bit older people get this numbness and tingling in the bottom of their feet. Sometimes it goes so far as they can't feel the ground that their feet are on. They're
Wow. I
usually
didn't
put
know
on a
that.
very, very strong pharmaceutical called gabapentin. My mom was on that when I arrived in the desert, 2014, and I got her off of that in about a year. Um, and with this product and one other product, which is the flagship product called Q-Core, people have been coming off their medication because they can now feel their feet. And that just makes me so happy. I mean, you have no idea when somebody can have a really significant change in a health issue. There you go, Q-Core. They've made this so easy. There's packs in there for AM and PM. You get full nutrition. And I'm telling you, if you're not eating healthy, this actually can make up for it. And I usually don't say that. I don't like to fall back on that. I want you to eat healthy too. But this is a deal breaker here. I mean, we're talking major nutrition. people are just saying in 5 to 7 days, they are feeling an improvement in their health. That rocks my boat. I mean, if you are taking maybe stuff that you got at Costco or Walgreens, I shouldn't diss them because they're good in many ways. But if you want really high-powered, high-quality nutritionals, you got to go with a group of people that know, what they're doing. So Dr. Kimberly is the formulator, as I said before, MD, ND, and he was the editor-in-chief of WebMD for 15 years. So does he know his stuff? Yeah, he knows
That's
all the
impressive.
traditional, yep, and all the holistic. That means a lot to me. So as far as product goes, I'm sold.
Awesome. So the collagen isn't just like on the face. It's throughout the whole. I didn't know that. I just thought it was like
It's
Botox,
liquid.
you
So
know.
you're drinking it. You take 2 tablespoons of one in the morning and 2 tablespoons of the other one, which is for the beauty part. And that's the reform. So we've got rebuild and reform. And makes a big difference. I'll tell you, you can see a change in 7 days. They also have some skincare products, and that was my world for pretty much 20 years. And I'm pretty picky on my product. So again, stamp of approval. Now, this company has products for kids, for men, for women, for teens, pre-workout, post-workout. They've got terpenes. They've got all of the hemp products. They've got under the tongue, sublingual sprays, just full gamut, 65 products. And we're open in 26 countries already. So you being the world traveler.
I was going to ask you.
It's kind of nice.
Because I'm all over the place. So they can,
Yep.
I can check and see what the closest country they ship to, if not the one I'm in, and that would be awesome.
Well, the beauty of that is if you're in the EU, they ship out of Amsterdam. If you're in Australia, they ship out of Australia. Mexico, Canada. So you go down the line. We're opening in Asia right at the beginning of the year. So there's already distribution in Malaysia, Japan, South Korea, Philippines, and soon India. So huge.
Oh, nice. A worldwide company. That's awesome.
Global.
So tell us a little bit about the business model that they're using to distribute the products.
Well, it's direct sales, person to person. And I've been involved in the industry since 1996 on and off. Had quite a bit of success, and I kind of know what to look for in a company. I've discussed some of it already. The founders, the product, the people, that are involved, the leadership in the field, amazing. Comp plan is amazing. I got to say, I've seen a lot, done a lot in the industry, and this one is pretty spectacular, very unusual. It's all volume based, and it really doesn't matter where a new person comes into your organization. The point value rolls up through everyone, even through down to infinity. So this is a company where if you kind of follow the system and maybe you're coachable and listen to your mentor and work with your mentor, you can do very, very well. I joined July 1, and I've already ranked 4 or 5 times as of today, I think. And I'm hoping to do 6 by the end of the month. And that's my goal. And I won't go into what the ranks are. Just know that the money is there. And my thrill is to help other people come in their first week, and a week later, their product has been paid for and they've got a little extra, and the following week, they've got extra. And right now with people, we've been through a pandemic, as you mentioned, and, money can be tight. The cost of goods sold, food, gas, gasoline, up. And if you are used to living on X and now you have to come up with an extra $500 a month, this is a great way to do it. It's a great way to help your family out, great way to give you a little bit more breathing room, a little more money at the end of the month instead of just bills. And it's fun.
Awesome. So just getting back into the health aspect of it, for me, there's always like two things. One is energy levels, and the other is waist circumference. With some
Yeah.
people, it's hip, but for me, it's waist. So, does Q Science have energy type products that aren't full of caffeine? I guess.
Aren't bad for you. Yes.
For you.
Yes. There's all sorts of product like that. And there's something called Trim and Trim Plus.
Ah, okay.
And they came out with Trim like 3 years ago, and the Trim Plus is now just being like introduced to the public after a full year of testing with guinea pigs. I wasn't part of it. Wish I would have been, to take off the extra 10. But Trim Plus is a lot more potent, I guess, without all the crazy caffeine, as you mentioned, et cetera. And I know one person in my team, she doesn't need to lose weight at all. Good, lucky girl. But her husband took off 16 pounds in, I want to say, 7 weeks, which is
Wow.
pretty fast.
Yeah.
And he didn't change anything else. So
That is like the holy grail,
Yeah.
because I hear that, and then, I try the product and it's like, I don't know, did I double my chocolate cake intake during this period of time?
Right.
Uh,
So this could be the answer. I always encourage people to kind of be, cautious of what you're eating as well. But, if you want to do a true test, I guess just keep doing what you're doing, add this and see what it does.
Well, I think the other side of this is, instead of just doing what you've been doing, like I would say in my case, if I keep doing what I've been doing, I'm going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you get something like the Trim Plus, you make a commitment just getting it. That's part of the commitment to a better, healthier you, right? So then, look at, are you drinking water or are you drinking beer? Are you eating donuts or are you eating carrots? And then, like, one of my friends was talking about habits, and they said, you cannot get rid of a habit. You want to stop smoking, you want to stop that smoking habit, you can't stop it. You can replace it. So you hear people that eat carrot sticks instead of smoking, or they chew on their they chew on the end of their pen, like they need something in the mouth. And if it's something that's not burning, that's an improvement, right?
Right.
So I think if you're serious about weight loss, then get something like Trim Plus and take a look at the food that you're eating and how much of it that you're eating, and then start making those substitutions, right? Like, my question always is, I love muffins, so what can I eat instead of a muffin? When I'm in the grocery store, what could I buy and have instead of a muffin? And hopefully it's not a tart, or a donut. Hopefully it's like fruits and vegetables, or non-processed foods, as opposed to processed, Kit Kats, and go from there.
Yeah. And I think with that one example, I think just getting a high density bread, can satisfy that carb need. And if it's really well made, the ingredients can have a little bit of sweetness to it. So that's, kind of what I look at. And if you're trying to replace something, if you want to replace a bowl of ice cream, well, I guess you could do frozen yogurt, but you could also think about maybe some cubes of watermelon,
Right.
or a nectarine. And, even if you just do it 5 out of 7 days and you have your ice cream 2 days,
It's an improvement, right?
yeah. And I think movement also, if you change just one thing, to make yourself healthier, it seems like it's just automatic that all the rest of it changes too.
It's interesting you brought up the thick, healthy bread, because before I was in Santa Marta, I was in Medellin, and I was in a mall, and there was a bakery. No, it wasn't a bakery. It was a health food store, and they had bread on one of the shelves, right? And this bread was 1/3 the size of an ordinary white slice of bread, right? And I think it either had like a raisin or a cranberry or something in it. I'm not sure what. And then maybe a little nutty thing, because it was like when you chewed on it, you were chewing bread, but then like that's not bread. That's like a nut or a raisin. And I'll tell you, I would have like one slice of that, and that was my carb craving was gone, right? As opposed to like two muffins or
or two donuts or two whatevers, right?
Yeah. It was just amazing. I'd be like, oh, I need something, and then I'd take this, I'd put a little organic butter on it, and then I go, oh, that was really good. And that's, it's like the dogs running when they got to go out to pee, right? And then when they're done, they just lay. I'm the same way, right? Back and forth. I need my carb. And then when I have it, it's just like, oh, I'm relaxed.
And it's not really advisable to like do no carbs, the no carb thing and the high protein thing and this and that. For me right now, for the last 6 months, I've been really happy doing intermittent fasting. And for me, it just works. So I do a meal at 10:30, 11 in the morning after I get out, exercise, and then I have another meal at 4:30 or 5. And I can eat whatever I want on those 2 meals. And that to me works. If I'm always saying, oh, you can't have this, you can't have that, you can't have, oh God, you can't have that. If I want to have a taco on Taco Tuesday, that's what I'm going to have. So I've made it work. And I do have dessert. I just don't overdo it. Right. I think that's the key to success. And the older we get, as our metabolism starts slowing even more, it's even more challenging. So I have to up a little bit more. Instead of 3 miles, now it's 4. And, I just have to adjust out, and I don't even necessarily have to go on a scale. When I got back from my trip to Portugal this last May, we had walked so much that I had lost 2 pounds. And believe you me, I ate whatever I wanted while I was there.
Yeah.
Drink wine, have beer, whatever I wanted. So, I think movement has a lot to do with it. I really do.
Absolutely. And I'm really excited where I am in Santa Marta, because about 5 blocks that way is a little restaurant, and they have a ensalada aguacate, which is an avocado salad. So it's salad, it's
nice.
Avocado and tomatoes and lettuce and a few other things. And I had it yesterday, and I thought, oh, this is really good. And what I want to do when I travel, because I don't always have a kitchenette where I am, I'm only here for a few days, so it's just a regular hotel. But I want to make sure that I'm ordering salads instead of hamburgers, and French fries and that sort of stuff. And so I found this place, and it was just a delicious salad. So, and that's
getting in your healthy fats is very important. So the avocado,
yeah,
it's really good for you. It's good for your heart. It's good for your brain, So everybody, oh, I can't eat any fat. Oh no, you can. Salmon, wonderful.
Yeah.
The fatty fishes, and also avocado, nuts. I mean, even cashews. Oh God, they're so good.
My I don't think there are any packages of cashews in Colombia.
Probably not.
There's peanuts everywhere, but I don't see any almonds or cashews or hazelnuts or anything else.
Yeah. So make do with what you have.
Right. So, Linda, I want to really thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate you sharing everything. And if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and know more about Q Sciences, or talk to you maybe about ways that the products can help them, what should they do?
I think you have my email, so we can put that up. I'm happy to answer any questions. Like I said, I've been at this I became a nurse in 1975, and I've seen a lot of results of not taking care of. So, I'm here to help people take care of themselves and get on the right track and stay there, feel good about their life, and be vibrant into their 70s, 80s, and 90s. So, yes, please reach out to me, Linda at accesshealth360.com.
And Linda, you're going to have to in a couple decades be expanding that to in the hundreds, because two of my grandparents, one was 102 and one was 103 when they passed away. So
Wow.
my goal is to beat grandma because she made it to 103. So
Wow. And I'll be right there with you.
yes, that's right. So before we go, one last tip for everybody watching.
Well, we haven't talked too much about stress. You mentioned it when you were working in the grocery business. I'd have to say, think about ways to reduce your stress, which is going to add a whole another level of health to your life, whether it be meditation, the exercise, the sleep, music. I love music. Music can help de-stress so quickly. And of course, relationships with family and friends. And, enjoy your life like Scott's doing at the beautiful island he's on. We need to have some downtime. We need to enjoy nature and get reconnected with who we really are and who we were born to be. So I'm going to say, live your best life and, explore, be curious, be adventurous, and live.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, everybody. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.